Oh, hello. Today I am joined by someone a bit different who's not actually from the Warhammer scene necessarily, but has
recently been reacting to a lot of Warhammer stuff. So hi, Miwa.
Hi, it's so lovely of you to invite me here.
yeah. So today I'm doing something I've seen in other scenes, especially in card games, where I want to invite someone on
Mhm.
and I want to present them with Warhammer rules and see if they can figure out if something's
Good or bad.
So what I've got here today is I've got 5 different things and their rules on different tabs, and we're going to go through them. I'm going to try and sort of vaguely explain them so that you understand them. And then I want you to see
Okay.
if you can figure out if you think they're good, bad, or
Or somewhere in between.
You can
do on a scale
Okay.
of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 if you want.
That works for me.
Yeah. So what's like your understanding
Of Warhammer as like a game.
Okay, so like I haven't actually played the tabletop yet, but I will be learning soon. I'll be learning from my friends while I'm at Adepticon, actually. So it's like in like what, a month? Um I so far my knowledge of Warhammer is basically lore and like whatever happens in the video games. That's about it.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, honestly, I was hoping to grab people
Mhm.
that weren't very familiar with the rules because I thought that'd be entertaining to do. And I think it makes for an interesting perspective. So first off, we have here the humble Intercessor squad.
Mm-hmm.
These are, your basic Space Marine infantry. So I'm going to pull up some numbers. God, numbers. This,
Oh God.
it looks a lot worse than it is. So for me to break this down for you,
Okay.
these are all the different weapons that can be taken in the squad. What the actual reality is, if I go back,
Okay.
you get one guy who's a sergeant who has a bunch of different weapon options, and everyone else in the squad has the same
Yeah.
gun. So it's more complex.
Oh.
It looks more complex than it actually is. Like you can see, it says here, you get one sergeant,
Yeah.
4 to 9 intercessors. So you can either take them with 5 models or 10 models, and they have a points value associated. My best comparison for you would be, I guess, somewhat similar to like as you play Yu-Gi-Oh, like the Genesis point system.
No.
Oh shit! Damn, I knew more stuff there.
That's the one format that I have no clue about.
That's fine. Okay, so every unit in Warhammer has a points value associated with it. The standard competitive format is 2,000 points.
Okay.
So you can kind of infer how expensive a thing is from these, and some units will have different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Standard box standard infantry. All of them have a bolt rifle, which is this line here. And they all also have a pistol. They can't shoot both at the same time. Basically, pistols
can only be used while they're in melee combat
instead of the better rifle. So some basic stat stuff. In card games, there's like 2 or 3 stats to keep aware of. Generally, in Warhammer, there's these 6 stats here. M is movement. T is like toughness, how beefy you are. Save is like how good your armor is. So this is the dice you'll roll
to determine if you actually take damage.
W is wounds, which is a little confusing, but it basically just means health. So if you just think of that as health,
that's your like HP.
Yeah. LD is leadership. That's like, did you shit yourself because there's less than half of you left? Number. Space Marines for the most part. So the reason it's a 6+ is you roll 2 dice for this when it happens. I wouldn't worry too much about this. It's not the most important stat in the world, but it does come up. And OC is objective control. If you've ever seen like a tabletop game, it looks like. There's a bunch of circles usually on a tabletop game, and they're the objectives you stand on. Whoever has the most OC on that point owns the objective. So this is a squad of 5 guys, for example. If you have 5 of them on there, you have 10 OC standing.
Okay.
The only other kind of complex thing here, I guess, is toughness, because this matters in relation to weapons. When you shoot something, first you roll to see if you hit them with this number hit. DS/WS, it just means. And then you compare the strength to their toughness of the thing you're shooting at. So if I shoot a strength 4 weapon at a person who has the same toughness as my strength, I have to do it on 4 up. If my strength is higher than their toughness, it's on a 3 up. If it's lower, it's on a 5 up. And then if it's double or half, it's 2 up or 6 up, respectively. Sense.
No, but let's roll with it.
But basically, if my strength is higher than your toughness, it makes it easier for me to damage you, essentially.
Okay. I think I get that.
Yeah, like there's like a chart I could show you to demonstrate it, but essentially think of it this way: if you're the same number, it's a 4+. If I'm higher, it's 3+. If I'm double, it's 2+. And then it goes the other way.
I think I get why Warhammer games take like hours now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where this looks all very complicated, but once you've played like 5-10 games with a squad of you kind of memorize what the stats are. So it's kind of like, I guess I would reference back to Yu-Gi-Oh! You kind of know what your cards in your deck do after you play them a certain times. Yeah. It's kind of the same vibe. There is a lot less text here. It's a lot more numbers to memorize, but like there's effects here. And these are like the card text on your cards, I suppose. And there's a lot less of this for the most part. Intercessors have 2 abilities. First one is if you control an objective marker, so if you have more OC than your in your command phase, which is the start of your turn, imagine it like your draw phase or standby phase in Yu-Gi-Oh! You own that objective even if you're not standing on it. So you could walk off it and leave it, and you'd still own it until your opponent then walks on it later.
Okay, so it's like capture the flag?
Kind of, yeah. Like I have been on this, therefore I own it until you onto it later. So it kind of means, for example, if you have an objective in your side of the board, you can. People call this sticky. It's like a colloquial term. I know like card games have their own like, terminologies, like you have the term of like garnet. So it's kind of one of those. And then its other one is this has a rule where if this unit shoots all of its guns at the same target, you get 2 extra attacks to the bolt rifles that they have. So the bolt rifle is this one here, which is 4 inches, 2 shots each, hitting on 3s, and then their strength 4. I guess I didn't mention AP and D is damage. That one should be fairly self-explanatory. AP means if I increase their save by that number. So if I hit you with a bolt rifle, save is 3+, it becomes a 4+ save. And for the most part,
what is D3?
So D3 is I think you can technically get D3 dice, but most people what you do is you just roll a D6 and then half it rounding up. So a 1 and a 2 is a 1, a 3 and a 4 is a 2, a 5 and a 6 is a 3. So that one's an average of 2 damage, maximum 3. There's a lot. There's a lot. For the most part, Warhammer just uses 6-sided dice, so it's not like D&D where there's like 6 different type of dice. You just be rolling like, so if for example with this ability here, you shoot 5 guys with these rifles, they get 2 extra shots each, so that'd be 20 shots.
Oh, that's good. I've only got like the dice that Bricky sells on his store.
I mean, those are probably 6-sided dice, so that's probably all you need. There are like options here.
One side.
Was it, sorry?
Yeah. I was gonna say one side of it is like the Among Us twerking.
Oh yeah, so a lot of people's Warhammer dice that they sell often, what they do is they replace the 6 on the dice with like an icon. It's still just a 6. So that's probably on the 6 in that scenario. Because quite often in Warhammer, there's effects that happen if you roll 6. Nothing here does that necessarily, but there's some like keywords. Like, this game kind of has keywords a bit like Magic the Gathering. So as an example, the bolt rifle Space Marines has assault, which means you can advance and still shoot. So an advance in Warhammer is instead of doing
a normal move, you roll a d6 and add that to it instead.
And if you don't have assault, you can't shoot. Heavy's kind of the opposite. Heavy is if you stand still, hit better. You add 1 to your hit rolls, but only if you stand. There's some other rules here, but basically most of the guns in the squads are bolt rifles. The sergeant can have a slightly better melee weapon or a hand flamethrower. But that's why there's so many weapons here. Is like he has like 8. So for the most part, his kind of weapons are negligible. You might take. What most people will take is 1 power fist because it's a damage to melee. But for the most part, I guess that's kind of my summary of Intercessors, I suppose. What would be your first impressions of how good you this unit?
In theory, so I'm gonna cheat a little, and Mr. Bones 40K. He told me to buy Intercessors, so I'm pretty sure they're not terrible. So I give this like a 6.
6 out of 10. Honestly.
Yeah.
I would kind of agree with that assessment. Intercessor, well, for starters, they're also a very good unit, someone who's learning to paint, because they're quite simple. If I just pull up the picture again. They're all kind of plain, there's not too many adornments, it's fairly easy. But quite often, if it's like a competitive list, what you'll do is you'll take 1 squad of these for this rule. Because you'll sit it on your home objective, once on your side of the board, and then they'll run out afterwards. You won't need to put anything else on it. Because if you don't have this rule in your army, you have to keep something at home the entire game. This rule here is okay. This rule actually didn't used to be on this. They added this as a bonus thing because they weren't good enough. But this isn't like a high damage. It will kill like other Space Marines or like small squads. It's like a very high volume of very low damage.
Okay, so like they're just like there for the vibes then?
Yeah, they're there to do a job, and they do that job fairly well. I will say,
Okay.
you very rarely see them played as a 10-man squad because
Mm.
you're not really taking them for the damage, you're also taking them for this ability a lot of the time. That's not to say you couldn't. It's not very common. So let's, I guess, go on to next squad. I guess a small thing for context for you: 6 inches of movement is kind of
Okay.
the baseline movement for most stuff in Warhammer. Like the
Yeah.
stat line of a Space Marine, it's kind of the mid ground. Everything else is built. So I guess this is a 6 inch move. A Warhammer board is 60 inches by 44. If that helps you put that into context.
I don't know. My country doesn't use inches. We use
Oh, okay.
centimeters. I don't know what it inches.
Well, we use it honestly. We use centimeters here in the UK as well a lot, so this is also sometimes
Uh-huh.
confusing for us. But we have tape measures that have both, so we just use inches for this game. So an inch is
Oh.
like 3 centimeters, I think, ish.
Yeah, I know it's like I know it's something really dumb like 3.4 or something
Yeah,
like
it's like
that. It's like
3.33 or something, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, like what is this?
Yeah. Well, so if a table's 60
Mhm.
inches across, then it's like 1.3 meters. Something
Mhm.
more than that, actually. My
I have
math's off.
no
I don't remember.
idea.
But I guess relative. This is 1/10 of boards of width.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's go on to the second one.
Okay.
I think you've kind of
So
grasped the basics of what this does, though.
yeah, I think I have a general idea. I think.
Okay, so next what we have, we've got some snipers. These are
Ooh.
eliminators. You get 3 of them in
Okay.
this squad.
Okay.
You can't have more. It's always 3. They cost 85 points. So Intercessors were 80, so these are a little more expensive than Intercessors.
Mhm.
For the most part, they have very similar stats here. They are
Okay.
1 less OC. So most armies, all the units I'm showing you here today are Space Marines. To compare things.
Yeah.
Um, Eliminators are OC1, whereas most basic infantry is OC2. So we're trying to cross every
Okay.
army in the game. So if you're playing like Tyranids, your basic bug OC2. Um,
Okay.
in Eliminator squads, you get 3 guys with sniper rifles. You get bolt sniper rifles. But the
Okay.
sergeant swap his bolt sniper for either a carbine or a las fusel, which is basically like a big las gun.
I remember that from the games.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the bolt sniper is 1 shot each, 36-inch range, which is fairly long. Strength 5, so a bit higher strength.
Oh yeah.
So you'll wound a space marine on
Okay.
because your strength is higher. AP 2, so a
Yeah.
bit higher as well. Damage 3.
Oh. Okay.
And then the abilities this has, it has some extra stuff here. Stealth means if something shoots you, you're less likely to get hit. Infiltrators
Okay.
is when you're starting the game and you're like setting up, set them up outside your deployment area, so you can sort of put them in the middle of the board at the start of the game, before the game starts.
Okay. Okay.
And their rules are.
Oh.
Yeah, you see what it's doing.
Yeah, it's like Total War.
A little bit, yeah. Actually, I'd be interested to see how they
Oh.
do Warhammer 40k stuff into making it 40k.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I've been playing a ton of like Total War Warhammer 3 and it's like it's been a blast.
So these guys have 2 abilities. So this
Okay.
first one
Uh-huh.
is after you've shot, if the sergeant has taken the bolt carbine, so basically you'd have to take this gun if
Okay.
it can move
Yeah.
after it shoots.
Okay, so it gets like another movement phase then.
Yeah, so essentially you move 6 inches,
Okay.
you shoot, and then you move another 6 inches, which could mean,
Okay.
for example, you move out from behind the wall, you shoot, you move back behind the wall.
Uh-huh.
The caveat to that is, one, you can't declare a charge, which means you can't get into melee. Their melee weapons aren't that good, to be fair, so that doesn't matter that much.
Okay.
But the downside is you do have to take this gun, which is a slightly worse gun because it is lower strength and lower damage.
Okay.
And then the last ability, if the unit stayed still and didn't move, the weapons have the devastating wounds ability, which means when you roll to see if you wound, you do a hit roll and then a wound roll. You roll a 6 on the wound.
Okay.
Your damage ignores their armor; it just goes straight through.
Okay.
Um,
Damn.
I guess the last thing I'll mention is all the weapons that you likely take, unless you take the last fusel here,
Mhm.
have precision, which just means if you shoot a squad that has like a character, like a name, you can
Uh-huh.
choose if you can see that guy to deliberately shoot the character and ignore the squad. Because normally, if you shoot a squad that has a
Okay.
character, they can choose to kill the bodyguard first so that they don't lose the character.
Okay. Huh.
Whereas the alternative doesn't
I
have that, but
mean,
it has 6 damage, which means you roll the dice for the damage, which is on average higher, and it's got higher strength.
okay. But I mean, if you don't take the bolt carbine, then you're just like turning off one of your abilities, right? So doesn't that
Yes,
kind
but
of suck?
well, the one thing to mention here is all of them can swap their gun for the fusel. So you could have 2 of these and a
Ah,
carbine, or you could have 2 bolt rifles and a carbine, or you could go 2 and 1. You could mix them up.
okay. Okay. Huh. I mean, I guess I'd say this is like probably probably like a if you can mix and match, it's probably like a 6 or a 7 then. Just cause like I don't know, 6 inches is for men it's quite substantial. So
So this is interesting to me because I'm actually not too sure exact score I would give this, but
hmm
I think I would give this like a 3 or 4. So the main reason for this being the issue with this precision keyword on guns specifically is if your opponent's smart and just puts the guy behind the wall, you can't use it because you can't see the guy you're shooting.
Oh, okay. So if that's the case, then okay, that makes more sense then.
Yeah, and the other thing is the damage output's okay,
hmm
but it's a little not like unreliable. But you hit on 3s, so let's say so you've got 3 shots, right? Roll 3 dice,
hmm
2 of them hit. You're then likely to wound 1 or 2 of them, and then they have to make an armor save. So on average, you maybe kill 1 model.
Okay, so they're kind of booty then.
But they are not great in terms of damage output. I think if you're taking them, it's probably because they infiltrate and you have this ability here, shoot, like get somewhere. But I don't think you're taking them for damage at the moment. There was a really funny instance where they were good earlier this edition because they
Okay.
used to have a weird rules thing where people and basically the
Oh.
basically there was an abusable thing you could where you get these guys into a transport, and some
hmm
transports have a thing firing deck where you shoot a gun out of a transport, but it counts as the vehicle's gun.
Oh.
So what they did is they would do this part, they would shoot, get into the
hmm
transport, and then the transport would shoot using their guns again, which was not the intent.
Oh.
Because it was treated as the transport's gun rather than theirs because of
hmm
the way it was ruled. You could technically shoot their guns twice.
That's so weird, but bet. I mean, so I guess this would be like a 3 then?
Yeah, I would say like 3 or 4. I think there's ways to make them work, but right now, it's spectacular. I guess the thing that's very odd
hmm
about Warhammer compared to like card games is it's very easy for them to
Okay.
change time. They're not beholden to what's on the card text.
Ah, yeah, no, we have to wait for Boundless.
Yeah, whereas in Warhammer they don't really do
hmm
that. Instead, they go, "Oh, this unit's too good, we'll increase its point cost," or "This unit's too good, change the damage of this weapon." And everyone's
Damn,
got the
that's
stats
fucked up.
on like an app on their phone, and they can check it. And, my rules have changed.
Damn, that's fucked up. I uh-huh.
Well, I guess the thing is unlike card games, these things never tend to fully rotate out. I know reviews are banned lists, so things do get banned and unbanned over time, but usually when something's unbanned, it's no longer super playable. It's sort of like fun.
hmm
Um, but whereas in Warhammer, you sort of have this collection of things on the shelf, and eventually things will be good again. They sort of rotate back around to be, and they'll last you like 20 years probably.
Mm. Okay, I mean that's not that bad then if it lasts for like that long, I guess so.
Yeah,
Right?
and worst case scenario, you've got this cool painted model that you still play it casually. Like even if you're going to have to play the best thing. Like I have seen people
I see.
go to tournaments and play like 9 of these, like 3 squads of them because they think they look cool.
Huh.
Which, to be fair,
I mean, I guess it does kind of look cool, so I do get that.
use of sniper rifles, they are pretty cool.
Mm.
So what if we go the opposite direction? So what I have next, these are Inceptors. So we've got chunky men with jetpacks and pistols.
Okay.
These guys, slightly different stats this time. These guys move 10 inches. They're toughness 6, so they're a bit beefier. Space Marines. Same armor, but they have 3 wounds each. So if you fire a 1 damage weapon, you need 3 of them to go through to kill 1 of these, as opposed to 2 for Space Marine. Same leadership, OC1. So these guys have 2 options. They can either all have assault bolters, which are things. They're just
like bolters.
Or you
the
can
guns.
give them twin plasma guns or plasma pistols. They're like really chunky pistols or something. Plasma external.
Oh, the ones that look like Mega Man like hands.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they replace their hands. They are chunky tube things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those things.
Yeah. So these guys interact with a rule in Warhammer called Strike, which is where you start something off the board, and on like later turns you can sort of teleport it in. And these guys is they can do that closer to units than others can, because usually when you do this, you drop a unit in 9, outside of 9 of enemy units, whereas these guys can do it outside of 6, so they can be closer to your opponent.
Okay.
And essentially what these will do is they'll drop in on turn 2 or 3 with either 3 or 6 of them. They are a bit expensive, like compared to the other stuff we've shown so far. Like an Intercessor one was 80-ish. These are 120.
Oh.
240, you get 6. And your options are either the assault bolters that I mentioned, which have a lot of words here, but basically we've mentioned assault. Pistol just means you can shoot in combat. Twin link means you can roll the roll. And
so like what? If you don't like the first roll, you roll it again?
Yeah, because if you roll too low, then you will fail to wound, and you re-roll the failures to try and get more successes.
Okay.
And it also has a keyword called sustained hits. So sustained hits is when I roll my hit roll, any 6s give me extra hits. So any 6s with this particular gun, because it's sustained hits 2, gets me 2 extra hits.
Okay.
And these are 3 shots each, so with 3 guys, you get 9 shots. With 6 guys, you get 18 shots, quick math. On 3 strength 5, 8 on 2 damage. So there's a slightly beefier version of the Space Marines had. The other option here, we have the Plasma Exterminators. This isn't actually 2 different guns. This is the same gun, but it has 2 different options. That's why it's a little. And basically, with Plasma and Warhammer, you have the option to overcharge it. And if you overcharge it, you get the hazardous keyword, which means you roll a dice after you shoot it. And if you roll a 1, your guy blows himself up.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. What? Why?
Basically, they're like charging up the gun, and because they're doing that, it's dangerous and it's hazardous to themselves. But it increases the
the hell?
It increases the damage output, the AP, and the strength of the weapon by.
Okay.
It is interesting. The rest of the keywords are all the same. It still has twin link, it still has pistol, it still has assault. Basically, you're choosing between higher damage, higher AP, higher strength, and this one is generally just better at small stuff. Just a lot of shots with the sustained hits too.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just use the assault bolters then? Like,
it really depends what you're trying to kill with them. Like when you're putting them in an army list, you might think, what is the job? Say, if I want to kill stuff that has 3 health, I would rather have this because it's 3 damage.
Okay.
Or for example, if my opponent has a thing with a 2-up armor save, this would do a lot better with the AP, whereas this is AP 1, so this would put them on 3-up save, whereas this would put them on 5-up.
Okay. Okay, then the skill in your setup on the using. Okay. Man, this feels like it would be good, but it also feels kind of situational. I don't know. Actually, no, if it's an Interceptor squad, I feel like it's not situational. It should already be in there, though.
I guess the thing I'll mention, the way Warhammer is structured, is when you build an army, every army has their army rule, which you always have, which for Space
Mhm.
Marines, it's you pick a thing and you hit rolls against it. So it's quite a simple one.
Okay.
But every army also has a detachment, which is listed up here. I won't go into what the old Space Marines have a billion of. And essentially, that's like
Okay.
it's like an extra rule based on like I guess I describe it like sub factions of the faction.
Mhm.
Do you know how there's like a bunch of different types of Space Marines?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a Space Marine detachment that's flavored after Blood Angels or Black Templar, and each of those has their own
Oh
separate rule.
yeah.
So, for example,
Yeah.
there might be a rule
Yeah.
set that benefits these more, or like benefits units that have fly through. So, yeah, there's not necessarily
Okay.
with all these things. I'm asking you essentially. There's scenarios where some might be better than others, but there's like
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, man, I'm just gonna say this is like a 5 out of 10 just because I know this comes in like combat patrols. I know this came in like the combat patrols that I bought, so I'm pretty sure this is like decent, but I don't know. I don't really know how good it is just cuz like I don't know other armies.
But that's completely fair. I think I would probably maybe say 6 to 7 would be where I put these. They're like
Okay.
solid. I don't see them as commonly as I see Intercessors because most Space Marine are on the squad of Intercessors. But there's places where maybe you're building an army that is focused on the guys with jetpacks, and you have rules that benefit having jetpacks, and you get like 1 or 2 squads of these in that.
Okay.
Or at least that's
Okay,
where I
I
see
think
them.
I get that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be like, I don't know how I describe it. It's like when you build a deck
Okay.
around a theme in like Yu-Gi-Oh! If I'm building a
Okay.
deck that focuses on jump pack fly dudes, I
Okay.
might be more likely to take more of these. Whereas the intercessors are
Okay.
more of an all like generically decent unit.
Okay. So okay, yeah, so the intercessors are staples. This is more of like a specific engine then. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how I describe this. Like if, for example, if the metagame is filled with stuff that has 3 wounds and its toughness like lower than 8, this is a particularly good unit at killing those. Or if there's
Mm-hmm.
metagames where there's a lot of squads that just need mass damage to firepower, this does those 2 roles particularly well. So it would depend partly on the metagame
Okay.
and what you're expecting to settle.
Oh, okay.
And Warhammer, like you can kind of build a list and sort of try to bring various different units because again, 2,000 points is the maximum. So even if you took a 6-man,
Yeah.
they are fairly expensive. Even if you took a 6-man of this isn't even like a sixth of your army. It's one that it's an eighth,
It's like
just under an eighth.
yeah, about there.
Yeah,
It's like a tenth.
I haven't got any tanks or anything
Mhm.
on here today, but some tanks are around 200.
Okay.
So that gives you a depends on the tank, I suppose.
Oh. Why wouldn't I just rock up with like 10 tanks?
You definitely could. There is some restrictions, which is that if you're building an army list, you have to have at least 1 character. I don't have any characters on here to show you today because I wanted to start with the basic infantry, so I thought that'd be easier to understand. Yeah, so that's one we have. We have
Mhm.
Centurion Devastators.
Okay.
These are some wide boys with big guns.
I have no idea if they're good or not.
So these have a few different options, and basically these guys are very slow. They move 4 inches.
Okay, so
So a
but
Space
then like
Marine.
what, do they hit hard?
Yes, these are like a very shooty unit. So these move 4 inches,
Ah.
whereas a regular Intercessor squad moves 6, and the Inceptors we saw move 10. So that gives you an idea of how slow they are.
Okay.
There's very few things in war that are slower than 4 inches unless they're like a stationary. In case they might move like 2 inches.
Hmm. Damn. Okay. I'm
So
looking at their ability.
yeah, so their ability is when they attack, they reroll a hit roll of 1, so it helps their damage output. And if your
Okay.
shooting is on an objective, circles, you reroll the full hit roll. So that means you can roll 2s and reroll 2s and stuff like that as well.
Okay, wait.
Oh,
So walk me through this. So reroll a hit roll of 1. So like, what does that mean?
So that means I rolled a 1 on the dice. I can reroll that. I can't reroll.
Okay.
So let's say I'm hitting on 3s. If I roll a bunch of
Okay.
1s and 2s, I could reroll the 1s but not the 2s.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas if they're on an objective, I can reroll all the stuff that missed.
Okay. And then if it's within range, you can just reroll both, like, all of the dice.
Yeah, you can just reroll everything that missed if they are on the thing you're shooting, not them. So
Okay.
there's a few different weapon options here. So each of them can have either a grav cannon, which is like an anti-vehicle gun. So it has anti-vehicle 2+, which means if the thing has the vehicle keyword down here, you just wound it automatically on a 2+, regardless of how tough it is.
Oh, I kind of love this then.
Yeah, so there's that. The other options you have are Twin Heavy Bolter, which is kind of like the bolters the Inceptors have, where it's just a lot of shots with sustained hits and 2 damage. Or you can get a Twin Las Cannon, which is like a big honking anti-tank gun. It's 48-inch range, strength 12, and the damage is D6+1 for a maximum of 7 damage.
That's kind of crazy then. I mean, I fuck with the Centurion Devastator squad. I'd say it's a 8 then, or a 9.
Okay, so this one I deliberately
just because I like them.
I put this one in here kind of as a trick. This one can either be like an 8 or like a 2, depending on which detachment you. So I'll give an example. There's a detachment a friend of mine, Paul, plays, which is Shadowmark Talon is the name of the detachment, and in that detachment there's a rule that you pick up units and basically teleport them somewhere else next turn, and that kind of circumvents the move these guys have.
Okay. So it's like really good for them.
Yes, but in other detachments you might struggle to get them in position because you need to, get around the building or something, and these guys just might not be able to do it because. So, for example, their bases are 50 millimeters across. So to get through the wall, you actually have to advance them because their movement is less than their base size almost, which means you wouldn't be able to shoot. So the teleporting is like a huge part of what makes these playable, and this means they're either very playable in certain detachments or very hard to use in other ones, if that makes sense.
I guess so. I kind of get it.
If I was to liken it to like Yu-Gi-Oh or something, it'd be like when like an old card is super good because a new archetype came out.
Okay.
These guys, those rules for teleporting them weren't out for a while, and then they came out, and it was like, oh, these are now really good.
Okay.
But it kind of alleviates their issues, I suppose. I guess I'll mention their stats. They are quite beefy for Space Marine things. They have 7 toughness, which is the highest we've seen so far. A 2-up save, which is, unless you roll a 1, they just don't take damage. Obviously, that's before armor penetration. And they have 4 wounds each, so they are fairly durable. There's ways to make them more durable as well. Not necessarily here. Yeah, those will be an interesting one. These models are actually relatively old, so you can see they're a little bit stumpy. There's the last cannon.
Okay.
So I have one last data to show you. This one looks really long, but it's because there's a massive white square here for some reason. So these are Victrix guards. These are the elite guards of the Ultramarines.
What do they look like?
I'm showing that on the screen. Why not?
Oh, no. I think it lagged for a sec.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're cool looking.
Yeah, they're neat. I do like their models. There's other variants of them. I'm not showing the datasheet for these, but you can take a massive flag.
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, they are neat. I do like
10.
Rules-wise...
It's a 10 for me.
It's a 10.
Yeah.
So these guys...
I mean, they look sick as fuck.
They are normal moose speed Space Marines. They're toughness 4 like normal Space Marines.
Okay.
They have a 2-up save and 3.
Okay.
Double check what they have. So you can take the guy with the flag or a champion, but you can only take one of those each per army because it says epic hero. So if you have multiple squads of these, only one squad will have those.
Okay.
So these guys, basically everything has mastercrafted power weapon, I believe.
Okay. What is a mastercrafted power weapon?
So this is a melee weapon, so it's 5 attacks. They hit on 2s, so they only miss if they roll 1s. Strength 5,
Okay.
AP 2, 2 damage. Which is probably the best melee profile we've seen here. Centurions have a 2 damage melee weapon, but they hit on 4s.
Okay.
So these guys are fairly elite as far as melee goes. So their rules.
So,
So they all
so they're
have.
like way better.
Yeah, they're way better in melee. They're shooting. They each have one mastercrafted bolt carbine. Basically, mastercrafted in Warhammer just means it's a fancy version of thing.
Okay.
So they each have a bolt carbine that's fancy and a power weapon that's fancy. So for shooting, they have 2 attacks at strength 4, AP 1, 2 damage. So it's like a bit like the Intercessor guns, but they're damage 2 instead of 1.
Okay. So they're like way better then.
Yes, and these are 100.
And they're like the normal. Okay.
So they're 110 points each for 3 guys, or 226.
Oh, so they're like not even that expensive then.
They're like, if you consider 5 normal Space Marines as 80 points, these are like 30 points more, but you get 3 guys instead of 5. But they are more durable because they have a better armor save.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a couple rules. One is they're being led by a guy. I mean, I won't go too into detail on how leading works, but basically you attach like a leader to a squad. They become -1 to wound. So, for example, if my opponent shot me and they were wounding me on, let's say, they were wounding me, they would then instead be wounding me with balls.
Okay.
So they become more durable. And the second one, this one's quite long, but essentially, if someone shoots you, you can then move towards them. So you'd roll a dice, I believe. You roll a d6, and you move that many inches. And if you roll high enough, you end in combat with them. Which I will clarify can be quite strong against shooting armies, because if I end in combat with you after you shot me, then can't shoot me again because I'm in combat.
That's how that works?
Yeah, well, so basically, the way combat works in Warhammer is you can only shoot into combat if you have the pistol keyword.
Okay.
And you're the thing that is in combat. So if I shoot this unit and it runs towards me and tags me into combat, the other stuff in my opponent's army then can't shoot me because they would risk shooting their own teammates, essentially.
Oh.
There is some rules in the game that can circumvent that, but not every army has access to it.
Okay.
And there's one bonus thing here for the guy that has the flag, which makes their melee weapons better for 1 turn.
Yeah. Love him.
Yeah. So that's that squad. What do you think? Other than the looks, because their vibes are immaculate.
Can I okay, let me read this real quick. At 1 strength to the I mean, I guess it only works if like you really make them be in like melee, huh?
I would say they do want to be in melee. Their shooting is like it's only 6 shots for 3 guys. You're not going to kill an entire squad.
Okay.
Their melee is where they will.
Okay.
Because they have a lot more volume.
So they're like. Okay. I guess like they'd be like a 7 or an 8. I like them.
Yeah. So I think you're actually fairly spot on with this one. Because I think a lot of people, if you're playing Ultramarines, you take at least one of these. A few months ago when these first came out, because these are actually quite new. These were originally 4 wounds each, and they nerfed them because what they were doing is they were taking 18 of these.
Because
they have a 6-man squad, so you take 6, 6, and 6, and you put a character with each.
Yeah.
And you would just walk at your opponent, say to them, "I challenge you to try and kill these without them running at you. Because if you shoot them, they move towards you."
You know, that makes sense.
So I'd say a few months ago these would have been a 10 because it was disgusting.
Okay.
But now they're like it's like an 8 or 9 is what I would say now.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So they got limited then. Understood.
And yeah, they got their stats reduced a little. I think their points went down a tiny bit as well to accommodate because they lost essentially a quarter of their toughness because they were each. Now they're 3.
Okay.
So they went down from like 100 so points to 110. Which admittedly is still fair.
That's not that bad, right?
No, it's not bad. I think what people now do instead of taking the full 18 is they'll take like one big squad of 6 with the epic heroes and a guy attached to them as a leader to get this benefit. And then they'll surround them with like tanks and stuff instead of just taking 2 more squads.
Mm-hmm. I think I get it. Oh, that's not bad then.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. So, I guess, what do you think? So this was 5 squads, different.
They are really different. I think I have like a general idea of like what their roles would be in like an army. But yeah, this was interesting. I didn't realize how like detailed things were. I was just building them based on how cool they looked, honestly.
I mean, there is a thing in the Warhammer community called rule cool. If you think a thing is cool, a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always one guy that will come to a tournament and they'll bring like a Titan or big dudes. They're never competitive, but they're always very fun.
No, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, I like Warhammer because it's cool. So I don't know. I don't think I'll ever make a super competitive like list, but I just want to make things that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it'd be an interesting experiment. I mean, if you enjoyed doing this, try do it again at some point. Like I pick an army or type of unit.
Yeah, sure. This was interesting. I never really understood like Warhammer 40K, and like this has been a really like interesting like peek into it.
So I guess for the people on my end who don't, where can we find you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Miobel from Glitchstars, and you can find me on Twitch, you can find me on YouTube. Usually I'm watching and like learning new stuff about Warhammer. I'm really big into watching stuff about the lore. I've been reading the books, didn't know I could read, but because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player, but
You could play as Reed.
But yeah, no. It's like it's a struggle. I'm doing my best to get through like the Horus Heresy books. Who knew there were like 6 billion of them?
I've just started those because another VTuber suggested them to me. I've just started Rising.
Yeah, look forward to like to like all of your lunch money going towards like Warhammer books.
Oh.
So it's a great experience.
Well, for anyone on Viewers End, I'm Astra. I make a bunch of 2K style content. A lot of it's been collaborative as of late, so I've talked to a lot of different people. So hopefully that interests you. Find both of our channels down.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me. I had a really nice time.